Yes, and again. Good. And again, 1, 2, hop. Good. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. 1.
Welcome to Slay, the podcast where we dive into all aspects of female health and fitness. I'm your host, Louise Hazel, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about the very real threat of physical danger. It's something that all of us women have experienced at some point in our lives. Maybe you've had to walk home alone. Perhaps you've been left with a person that you do not trust. Whether it be real or perceived, there's nothing worse than feeling that there's a threat to your physical safety. Every single one of us has a right to defend ourselves. So if you want to feel better prepared, or if you just want to know more about what you should or shouldn't do in an attack, then this episode is for you. Joining me this week is former detention officer and pro MMA fighter Jo Doyle, who's going to be teaching us 3 self-defense moves that every woman needs to know. Jo. Welcome to Slay.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
I'm so glad that you made it all the way from Bradford, UK. But you've been living here in LA for how long now?
Just over 2 years. So moved August 2021. Yeah, so just over 2 years now.
Got you. So just after the pandemic.
Yeah, so we should have really moved before then, but pandemic kind of delayed us. So we were quit jobs, sold everything, and then stuck over in the UK for like 18 extra months with our visa just ready to go. So yeah.
Crazy. So Jo, prior to coming out here to LA, you were actually working as a detention officer in the UK and a pro MMA fighter. 1 pro fight, 13 amateur fights, 9 wins, 4 losses. Are those 4 losses, like, how do they feel on the heart?
I think a loss is always hard, but I think you also, my losses at amateur, I think 2 were for a belt, 1 in America, 1 in the UK, and the other 2 were 1 at the World Championships and 1 at the European Championships. Yeah. So all big fights and big tournaments. I tried to pride myself on taking the best opponents in Europe and just trying to progress as quickly as I could because the talent pool's so small over there. Mm-hmm. It's great to see now that it's growing and there's more European fighters in like big organisations. But yeah, losses are hard. Like when you don't perform some of them I felt like I performed well and I could walk away with my head held high and it was just, she was better on the night. And then, I've had one, probably my pro debut is the one where I didn't turn up and kind of was the reason why I was like, I need to really rethink what I'm doing and do I love it still? And I think that's a big thing that I've always kind of done it. I will continue to train and continue to fight as long as I love it and that's my passion. And as soon as it's not that, then I can kind of think, right, I need to reassess what I'm doing.
So why did you stop?
Many reasons, which I haven't actually spoke about. So this is, a new one for me. So my pro debut got delayed because of pandemic and ticket sales and having people in audience. So it got delayed to 3 weeks before I moved to America, which was already a stressful time anyway. I want to put out there that I had the best fight camp, the best sparring, the best strength and conditioning. I was in probably the best shape of my life. I really felt ready for that bout until the door shut and my mind just went, nope, we're not doing this today. And really? I didn't want to be there.
What happened to your body? Did you freeze or was it just like a mental battle?
Froze, completely froze. I can remember feeling like I was a fly on the wall watching myself fight. My legs were heavy. Everything was very sluggish. I don't even think, I can't watch the fight back yet. I know that sounds really weird after 2 years, but I still haven't watched it back. Everything was just slow. Like I was trying to kick, I was trying to wrestle, and nothing that I'd done and what my coaches had prepared me for, I could do in the fight. It was the most bizarre feeling in there that I've always been mentally strong in fights because being in the police force, I've dealt with harder situations. So I always thought, I'm fighting in a cage, but I've got a referee who's going to save me if something bad happens. It's a controlled environment. So I always had a good mental game in fights, which I think showed with like my performances where I have got wins on my record, but that one, absolutely not. And so that was kind of the start of it. A little bit deep, but the next day after I drove all the way back from Birmingham, like very sore, very upset, my mum sat me down to say that during my fight camp, she'd be going through loads and loads of tests, and we had that appointment that everyone dreads that she needs to bring a family member to. So I pretty much found out the day after that fight that my mum had breast cancer. And that put everything into perspective for me. And it was like, this actually doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. And luckily she's absolutely fine, and she's survived all her treatment.
She conquered her fight.
Yes, exactly. And it was really that kind of thing. I thought she's got to battle now. She's got to fight, and this is a real fight. And for me, I wanted to put everything into supporting her.
Yes.
And then it was the hard thing of them moving, because I didn't want to move then here. So yeah, that was another reason, because as you know, in sports, it's quite a selfish thing. You have to think of yourself and only you.
Absolutely.
And everything, you know, I've got a great supporting husband who is one of my coaches. I had a great head coach, Mark, as well. So everything was channeled around that fight. And then you realise afterwards, when something so major in your life is going on, that, actually, I don't want that to be about me now. It needs to be focused on something else. So yeah, that was one of the big things as well.
You spoke there about opponents. Now, I managed to sit down just yesterday and watch your fight against European athlete Patricia Chodorowski. The fight lasted all of about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you at multiple points, like you were psyched up, ready for that fight, went into the ring, you know, you showed your mouth guard. I was like, oh, she's fierce. And it looked as though, you know, she was, even the commentators said that she was, you know, slightly like larger size-wise, and it might be a little bit of a mismatch. You were fighting at bantamweight. She was fighting at featherweight, so she was perhaps another 10 pounds on you in terms of like load. But Jo, you know, I was absolutely terrified. When I watched you, I remember literally getting her in a leg lock. She was pushing you up against the side of the cage, trying to get underneath your chin, trying to go for like this weak area. And I remember you literally then coming up and wrapping your legs around in some sort of scorpion move. You managed to get, both of you were kind of angling, trying to get one another down onto the mat. You got her down onto the floor first, literally got behind her. And that was the point I was like, wow, Jo just boa constricted the hell out of this girl. And I was like, this girl doesn't stand a chance, bless her. And she knew it, didn't she? She knew as soon as you'd kind of got your arm in a lock around the neck that it was just really a matter of time. And she tapped out. And quite smartly, so I think I'd have done the same. Jo, it was absolutely petrifying to watch, but also super thrilling. And it made me realise, I was like, you know, the interesting thing, I think you're now working, obviously, at the club in Santa Monica, you know, mixed martial arts, boxing, etc. But more importantly, you know, you're now kind of carving out this career in female self-defense. When I watched that fight, I was like, this is perfect. You know, you are able to stay calm in that situation. You're not getting super pressured. But I thought this is a perfect transition for a person who knows how to choke someone out in around about 4 minutes quite easily. And I was like, as soon as I was watching it, I was super intrigued. I wanted to know more. And I wanted to know how did it come about that you decided to use your skills in MMA to then coach women as to how to better defend themselves?
So with my background in the police as well, I came across a lot of... I was mainly dealing with people who'd been arrested for an offence, and I'm not saying that everyone who was arrested is guilty, but also coming through the doors is people arrested, but they're also victims. And so I came across a lot of victims and how their life has been changed because of an incident that's happened to them, especially women. And once I started my career in fighting, I'm like, there's so much more that can be done. Even my training, I have to say, in the police force for like how to like control people and things like that, it wasn't great. And doing jiu-jitsu, doing boxing, kickboxing, I realised that there's so much better ways that we can do this and defend ourselves. And putting the two together, really, I want to be able to be a spokesperson for women, that there is ways that you can defend yourself in situations that are the most horrific, but staying calm and having logical things and steps that you can go through to even a little bit, get 10 seconds or get 2 seconds to get yourself out of there, or even just having a presence about you. I think a lot of it is how you carry yourself in certain situations. That can be super important as well.
I was going to say, what are the most important things that we need to be aware of as women out here in these streets? Because, you know, we live in central Hollywood, it can be a bit of a sketchy place. I often feel like I'm, you know, looking over my shoulder if I'm walking to my car. What is it that we really need to be much, much more aware of when we're out and about?
And I think that is kind of it. It's awareness. It's knowing your surroundings, knowing you get out, knowing that your phone is on, that you know you've got a text or a phone call ready.
Give me an example of a get out.
Like, so if you see a situation and you know you need to go in that direction, or you see something that you're not comfortable with, finding like a lit area as well, finding a busier area, or finding a shop or cafe or something, and just think, that 10 minutes that I can wait in here till it's kind of clear, or even speaking to someone, we automatically assume that everyone is maybe bad in them situations. If it's dark or anything like that, I'm sure you could speak to someone. Like, we sometimes forget asking for help. I don't feel comfortable walking down the street. Excuse me, will you just kind of help me go to my... And I think we forget about little things like that we can actually ask other people to help us. Even if we feel that little bit of, we're intimidated, it's not... We don't need to, we can swallow our pride and go, actually, I do need help in this situation, because it made me feel more comfortable to go and get some assistance. Then I can get on with my day as well.
So one of the things I was talking to producer Sam about earlier was the fact that when we are on our way to our cars in the morning, like in the garage, how do we stay safe? Like, you've got 10 bags, like you're a woman, you're going to work, you've got your sports bag or whatever with your day's stuff in, you've got your laptop, you've got your keys, you've probably got your jacket, your bottle of water, your hands are full, and you still got to kind of make it to your car, however far that might be, 50 yards, 100 yards, however far.
And you've got every slasher movie running through your mind.
Absolutely.
As well at the same time.
Like, how do we stay safe in those situations?
And I think, again, assessing the situation as you, so if you're coming through into like a garage, like, I always like to have my keys in my hand, definitely have my keys in my hand.
How do you have them in your hand? Because you're like, I can see you balling up your fist like you're going to punch someone.
I would definitely put them between my fingers.
So are we talking like this type of thing?
Yes.
So are we talking like get the biggest key?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I would, yeah. If I felt nervous and that's the only thing I had and I had bags on my back.
And what are you going to do with that key then, Jo?
Well, it just depends if someone came up to me.
Would you strike a blow? Would it be like a slice, a stab? Like
only if someone attacked me. Only if someone attacked me.
Okay, so not unprovoked.
Not unprovoked.
And what would be the best thing to do? Let's say you had a key and you're like, okay, if I had to disarm someone, if someone was coming towards me in the garage and all I've got is literally my water bottle or whatever, you know what I mean? And just a key. Would you slash? Would you stab? Like, what are you going to go
Probably
for?
a stab, because then it's a distraction technique. Like, it's not, because it's not going to be like, I wouldn't say it's going to pierce someone, so it might be that slight distraction. A lot of people say slapping because they expect a punch. A slap across the face is a good distraction technique.
Oh, wow.
If I had bags on and like things like that, and they were coming towards me, like a push kick, so keeping that distance. So with boxing, you're in a certain range when you're boxing, and same with MMA is a bit different because you've got everything mixed in, wrestling and kickboxing as well. But if someone was coming towards me, my longest limb is my legs. So like lifting the knee up and like a push kick to keep that distance. And again, that's like going back to the time thing, it gains us a little bit more time. If they were closer to me and it was a case of they were holding on to me, using shorter strikes, elbows, knees, because
Keys.
Keys.
I love it. Now, for all our women out there, if you suspect you're being followed, what is the best course of action?
Firstly, I'd say like the panic thing. I think that's because you don't want to get yourself so worked up to a point where you're using energy. So the things that I mentioned earlier, if you feel like you are being followed and it is a quiet place, I would try and find somewhere that's a little bit better lit. The worst thing we can do is start to use energy. So sometimes a lot of
don't run.
I would say no, because as soon as you start running, if it was in an attack situation, they're gonna
ensue. So it's going to be a chase.
Yeah, definitely. I would try and, like I say, attach myself to a building, or, we are surrounded by anything, hotel lobby, anything that I could get into, I would do, hailing like a cab or even a member of the public. So you don't have to then put yourself in another situation by getting into a car, but you could maybe just start chatting to someone, that you're with someone, and just say, can I just chat to you for a second? You're not getting in the car or anything to put yourself in another situation, but just trying to be around people, be somewhere that there's other people around. But the energy thing is, because if it was a case where you were attacked or caught up with, you've already then used some of that energy to kind of try and defend yourself after that.
Absolutely. I remember one day I was walking along with my husband Derek, and he's like, Lou, I think somebody is following us, tailing us. And I was like, what? I'm like, I haven't done anything wrong. And he's like, no, I think someone's probably gonna try and rob us. And I remember he's like, cross the street. And we crossed the street, and lo and behold, this person crossed after.
Street, yeah.
He said, cross back. We crossed back. The person, he said, and then cross again. He said, but when you get halfway, cross back, double back. So we did this zigzag pattern, left, right, somewhat left, back to right. And kind of I think the jig was up.
Yeah.
I think that giving them that level of awareness that we were like, yeah, we know what's up.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, we're ready and down for whatever. Do you know what I mean?
And
so
that's it. And that's how you're carrying yourself, and that confidence to think that, no, this is not going to be the situation that you're going to put me in.
So how do you carry yourself with more confidence?
I think, again, it sounds like I'm repeating, but almost like that awareness of, if you're in a group situation, a party or anything like that, really being with people that you trust. I think that's really important. I think sometimes we've all been in situations where we've probably gone somewhere when we were in our younger days and thought, I really don't feel 100% safe, and I don't know who's going to look after me in this situation. So I think surrounding yourself with good people, telling people that might not be there where you are, having some sort of log of where you are and where you're going continuously. If you were feeling like you were in a little bit of danger, keeping a log of that, telling someone, right, I'm going here, or there's something happening here.
The funny thing was, I was talking today with one of our clients. LA is notorious for being dry on the dating scene. So a lot of our girlfriends that are single are having to go out and meet new people. And we were talking about her first date, and I'm like, where was your date? She said it was at his house. I said, it was where? No. She's like, oh, it was at his house. But I gave my friends, the location and what. And I was just like,
no,
thanks. Meet me at a bar or whatever it be,
And I think the confidence thing, and I know this is hard, and this is, I can sit here and just say this, but having the confidence to say, no, I'm not cool with this date. I'm in a bar. This is not what I want, and the date's not going well. To have the confidence to go, I'm leaving, not let it carry on and think, oh, maybe a couple more drinks, it'll help. It's not going to help the situation. If you get that, trust in your gut to think, I need to leave this situation, and having that contingency to ring a friend, or have the Uber, go to the bathroom, have an Uber 1 minute away, then you're out and in the Uber. But definitely, I think just being aware of what you're doing and having that plan of what's going to happen. I can go in somewhere, and if I'm really not comfortable, I can leave.
Yeah. Now, Jo, you are from the UK like myself.
Yes.
Now, if there's one thing that I've noticed about living in America, it's my distinct awareness of the fact that anybody could be carrying a firearm.
Oh, yeah.
And in the UK, it's just not like that. Our culture is just not like that.
No,
You're, more likely to probably get stabbed or bottled on a drunken night out. Have someone smash a bottle over your head or something and use that as a weapon than you are to be aggressed with a firearm. So one of the biggest things for me is literally the fear of, I'm in a road rage accident, or, I'm just out here on these streets and somebody has a pistol. My question is, and I kind of play these scenarios out in my mind, I think we kind of all do, right? We play out the scenarios of what could possibly go wrong. But one of my thoughts was, because obviously my background is in running and sprinting, I was like, should anyone ever pull a gun out on me, I think I would just try and run. And I'm like, should you ever run when someone is pulling like a weapon on you, whether that be a firearm or whether it be like a knife? Is that a good thing to do?
I think for you, probably.
What would you do?
if it was a knife, then yeah, I would say that for you, definitely. Because,
Run.
Yeah, because the chances are you're going to outrun them.
Okay.
A gun, you're giving someone your back.
Right. And that's what I was like, can I dodge
just
it? No.
yeah, I mean,
can you dodge a bullet? Probably not.
Probably not. No, I would say not in that instance. Like, you are just giving yourself, and you're not even seeing it coming. So they could pull a pistol and not actually point it. But if you've turned your back and you're running away, you've lost that point of if it's coming to drop down, or if you're still facing someone, you've got the little bit of a chance to kind of.
And I guess it's split second, right?
Split second.
And then I guess the difference with like a knife attack is there's the element of distance. Somebody has to get inside you, a bit like in the ring. They have to be able to get, within striking distance.
Yeah.
Whereas with a gun, it's the bullet that's doing the work. So effectively, you know what I mean? Knife, run, gun, fight.
Yeah. Probably
Okay.
have to fight.
I love that. One of the things I wanted to say was, or one of the really pertinent questions that I wanted to make sure that we got in this interview is, if you are a woman and you're ever being attacked, what should you definitely not do?
I think it does depend on the situation. And I've heard loads of different ways of people, like in LA, screaming is not necessarily going to be like looked at differently. Like if you're in a busy area of LA, that could be quite normal. So I've heard like different things about that. The main thing for me is the calmness and using your energy correctly. So a lot of the things with jiu-jitsu is using someone's weight against them, or you don't want to be like thrashing too much. We want to really consolidate what we're doing and how we use it. There's certain incidents where, like, I like to teach people if that situation where they've got hold of you and things like that, that's when we have to use this. If it's a situation where it's a little bit further away, and we can get out of it, obviously then you can use the energy like we've just discussed and to get out. But the main thing is to keep calm. Keep calm, keep a level head. We don't want to use all energy shouting or screaming when someone is overpowering us and we're not sure what to do. And that's why they're the main things where I want to, like, just little things that might just change your perspective on self-defense.
Is there something that you used to use, a go-to tactic, when you were in the ring, in the octagon, and you knew that someone had the better of you? Perhaps you were in a chokehold, and you knew you had a split second to react. Was there a tactic that you would use to stay calm in that situation?
So in a choke, I would almost, like, as if I'm going out, like kind of hold still. So I stop defending.
It's almost like playing dead.
Yeah. Because as soon as you relax, they might relax, and then you can react to that.
Oh.
And also controlling your breathing. So if you're panicking and you start like heavy breathing, or like you sometimes hear it in the gym when I'm like doing my rounds and I'll look across and there's like the new guy like growling and like doesn't want to be choked out, spitting his gum shield out. He's showing all the signs of that it's on, that choke's on.
Yeah.
If you have a calmness about you, you kind of relax for that few seconds. They might relax their arm because they think, oh, it's done. I don't want to put them to sleep.
And pow!
Yeah, and then you can maybe start defending again. If it was like...
Have you ever gotten out of a chokehold?
I think I've only been caught in once, and that was in my last fight. She got my back, but it was the like last 5 seconds of the round, so I kind of got saved by the bell a little bit.
Got you.
But other than that, I don't feel like I've been in any danger in chokes, because I feel like most of my opponents wanted to strike with me because they knew I was a better grappler or
Got you. So
jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Trying to play to
It was
their...
always grappler against striker normally in my fights. So if I felt they were getting the better on the feet with punches, I would shoot like a double leg or a single leg, like wrestling takedown to
Try
get
and
them on the ground.
Got you.
Yeah.
Grappler is basically get someone on the mat, try and
Yeah.
get them in a choke.
All
and
ground
then
and pound in MMA.
ground and pound, so get the punches in. And then strike is obviously up on your feet, striking with the legs, kicks or punches.
And then elbows and knees when it comes to pro.
Ooh, savage. Very excited. Another question that I wanted to ask, as I'm kind of like transitioning into, I wouldn't say motherhood just yet, but definitely, you know, planning. Would you say it's ever okay to GPS track your child? Like, is it okay to put a tracker on them? Like, is this something that's okay in this day and age? Are we okay with this? Is this like a taboo?
No, well, I mean, I actually feel sorry for my unborn children.
Yeah, because I don't think I'd have any problem whatsoever just slipping something in their rucksack. I'd even go so far as a shoe. Would I chip them? Possibly.
I mean, the thing is with phones, it'd be... I believe I'd have an open conversation of like, if you want a phone at that age where like teenagers seem to be... Well, I say teenagers, kids seem to be getting phones nowadays. Your location services is always on, or you don't have a phone.
Absolutely.
Like, I know...
That's what I tell Eric.
Always on. Always know where you are.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't feel so crazy now. But Jo, that's not really why I got you here. I got you here to choke me out.
Yes.
So we have promised 3 moves, self-defense moves that every woman needs to know. So we'll clear out now. We'll get our jiu-jitsu mat down.
Yes.
Jo loves it. It's white. It's going to be red, covered in my blood in a few hours. And, you know, I'd love for you to share some of the tips and tricks that you're teaching the girls over at your gym.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Okay, so probably one of the more stupid things I've done is take on Jo, who's a former MMA fighter. She's going to take us through a number of moves now that are going to help us with our self-defense. So, Jo, we want some easy-ish exercises to start off. What are the basics of what we should know?
Okay, so if you, like I mentioned when we had our chat, awareness is a big thing. So if there's distance between us, we want to keep that. That might give us seconds to actually get that head start, to get into a cafe, to get somewhere safe. So if someone was coming towards you, we want to keep the distance. If we're not in striking range, which would be your punches, we're going to use the longest limbs in our body, and that's our legs, to do a push kick to push them away and create the distance.
Okie dokie. So am I the aggressor?
You're the aggressor.
Oh, God. Okay.
And hands up to protect.
Hands?
Well,
Your hands?
my hands to protect myself.
Okay, ready? Oh my God. That's so forceful.
Are you ready for me to be aggressor?
Okay, cool. So give me the pointers I need.
So hands up to always protect the face, just in case someone's flailing or has a weapon. So we want to make sure that if we can protect our face, perfect. We want to bring that back knee up first, and we're going to extend and pushing that hip forward.
And what about stance? How can I be most stable?
Yeah, so we don't ever want to, if we see something coming towards us, we want to make sure we're in a staggered stance. If we're in like a neutral stance and we get pushed over, we're going to be really off balance. So in most martial arts, we have a staggered stance. Some boxing, kickboxing, you have your strong side at the back, so I'm right-handed. Like with judo, they have their right leg at the front if they're right-handed, because they have a strong side at the front. So it is depending, but as long as you're in a staggered stance so you don't get pushed over.
You can see me laughing. am I
gonna go like this? Scary.
Do I have to make contact?
Yeah, push me.
Sugar.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
Yes! That was perfect. Yeah.
Good.
Yes, well done.
Excellent. Fab. Okay, so that's the
Push kick, yeah. Keeping that distance because they've not necessarily got hold of you, so you want to make sure that you've got a little bit more distance between you.
Bam, and then exit.
Exit.
Left.
Yes.
All right, what's next up, Jo?
Okay, some wrist grips. Now, this may seem simple to people, but it's really common that people don't know how to just break a grip on their wrist or someone grabbing hold of them. And again, people feel like they can sometimes just grab, touch. And we want to get that in a nice, like, stern way, not too aggressive back, but...
So let's say the scenario is bar. Guy comes up. grabs your wrist.
Yep.
And what are we looking for in this?
So we're
particular
looking
situation?
for this area. So this is the break. If we're going against here,
So the
that's
break
all the
in
strong.
the-
Yeah, in the grip. Yeah, so the fingers where the thumb meets the fingers. If I was just to go backwards, you can walk with me. So
Yeah.
you can come with me.
Yeah.
So that's no good to go back and forth. So we want to...
And if I drag you...
Yeah, again, it's like I'm just going to be pulled and then I'm going to feel off balance. So we want to be nice and quick with this. We don't want to be just doing it like with a limp arm. We want to kind of make it nice and strong ourselves. And we're going to go against that grip. So we're going up and away.
Got you. So
And
you can see my hands just literally coming completely apart.
And we're like winding it round.
Got you.
So
we're gonna
if I go that way, I'm going to go down because I'm looking for that grip and going down.
Easy peasy. All right, then grab me. Let's go.
Where's your stance?
Here.
Yes.
Oh.
So
I'm
make a
gonna
fist.
go.
And then you're going in. Yeah, good.
That's really good. That's so
And even if
easy.
it's
like,
cross
Jo's
the
got a
body.
strong grip.
If it's across the body, so you go in that same direction, yeah.
Got you.
And if I was going this way, you would want to go out.
Oh my God, that's so easy.
Yeah, exactly. But people don't seem to know it.
Right.
So it's a really, like a small one, if someone was just, even just, if it was like
Yeah.
I don't want to be touched.
That's so easy.
Get off me.
Oh my God, Eric's never going to see me again. Okay, so that, what do we call that one? A break grip?
Yeah, just breaking the grip, yeah.
Breaking the grip. Got
yeah.
you. And then what's up next? So those are two nice, easy ones. Go,
Yes.
go, go.
So this is going more into the jiu-jitsu. So I see a lot of self-defense online, and for me, I want to put what I've learned as a fighter into using jiu-jitsu, kickboxing and everything like that for self-defense, because some of the things taught by men and other people, for me, that's not realistic. I want my techniques to be realistic. So as much as this looks complicated, this is why gyms are out there. This is why women like myself are wanting to teach other women. So we're going to go to the ground now.
Yep.
So in jiu-jitsu, we have many different positions. One of the positions is guard. Now, I'm not saying you go to a jiu-jitsu class and then if you're in this situation where someone's over you, you're on your back, to put someone in guard. However, we can still use the techniques there. So this next one's going to be a triangle choke. So for most women, their fear, if they were followed, could be a sexual assault or some sort of assault of that kind. So we really want to know things where we can really defend ourselves in that way. So you're going to grab hold of my neck.
I'm the aggressor.
You're the aggressor.
So neck.
Neck here, yeah.
Yep.
What you're grabbing. And then you, most likely, if it was a sexual assault, you're going to be grabbing at my lower half and they're going in the groin area, yeah.
I'm going to go thigh.
Yeah, that's fine. So we want to control what they're doing first. So we're going to take our own grips. I want to shoot one of the arms through because I'm going to take my leg over the shoulder. So we're going to hold this because we want this in place. We're going to use this to choke them. So we're going to push this down. We're going to throw our legs up here. We're going to grab our own shin, create an angle, and choke. Make sure we tap. Yes.
I got a little adjustment.
I know, I was
Did you hear it? She's a chiropractor as well.
Oh my goodness.
Fabulous. All right, let's do that one a little bit faster because I feel like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Jo's holding back on that one. I know she could go hard. So imagine, obviously, this is your kind of super skills.
And
how quickly can we get somebody into that?
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
Let's go. You ready?
Yep.
All right then, I'm coming at you hard.
That's fine.
Let's go. Oh! Wow. That was honestly like within, I would say, like 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can already feel that compression in the neck, like all of your kind of like blood supply is being cut off.
Yeah.
And you can actually feel like the power of the legs.
Yeah.
That's an amazing.
And the thing is,
deterrent.
even if it takes someone longer to go to sleep, you've got control of that person. And then there's elbow strikes and things like that you can do from that position. They're pretty much.
So once you're in that position, and obviously I'm tapping out, but let's say, you're...
I wouldn't be, that tap means nothing if it's an assault situation.
You just literally put them to sleep.
Keep squeezing.
Yeah.
Keep squeezing until you feel them go limp, but I'd land some strikes in the meantime.
So just to really just make sure they're down and out.
Yeah, because...
And then what's the key with regards to keeping somebody alive? You know what I mean? Let's say you want to detect, you want to subdue them, but you don't necessarily want to kill them.
So we're going to do a scissor sweep now. So it's similar kind of positions, but it's just to get their weight off me so that I've got the chance to get up and get out of the way. So next one.
Am I on my knees?
Yes. Okay. So again, this is a really vulnerable position for any woman. So
We want to have a few different tactics for here, because if one doesn't work, we can always refer to the next one.
Yep.
So I'm going to grab hold of the wrist, and I'm going to come up, and I'm going to use my hand like a lever, and grab here. I'm going to take my knee in the sternum, and pulling in and driving into your sternum. And I'm just scissoring my legs.
Whoa!
Across, land a strike, and then go.
And Joe's gone.
Out.
So let's do that one again, Joe.
So the scissor sweep is exactly what he says. You're cutting your legs the opposite way. You're taking that leg out from underneath and then really kicking over with the leg that's on the sternum.
You're basically flipping the whole script.
Yeah.
You effectively become the aggressor in that scenario.
Yeah, and the key is that loading of the weight. We have strong hips. Yes, someone could be heavier than us. And if they are, we would kick the leg out as well. So we can do that version as well.
Got you.
So.
Okay.
We're here, use it down here. So if you went really heavy and I was struggling here, all I do is bring my foot to your knee, kick the knee out instead.
That's amazing. Like, that is so crazy.
And you feel super light anyway, like you feel light because you've loaded that weight. We're nice and strong through our hips so that we can get that good purchase.
So you mentioned just briefly in the podcast using somebody's weight against them.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And honestly, like, what I felt like, I genuinely felt like I was a stick. So normally, like, you can kind of make yourself feel like denser and heavier.
Yeah.
That was impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even have time to think. And I think that actually, you know, if you can get that skill down and honed, just how quickly you can like disarm someone and get yourself out of a sticky situation.
Oh yeah, definitely. And even if you were to go for something like that, rather than just think it'll be over and kind of having that like you know what you're doing. So even if you didn't do the technique perfectly, that is going to subdue someone a little bit anyway, because they're going to be like, what they kind of know what they're doing to fight back. They're going to try and, you know, make this a lot harder. And a lot of the time, people pick the victim because of that. Right. And that's what's really sad about it. And especially in my background, they're picking it because they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Jo, what else have you got up your sleeve? Now, I want to break it down because this is how Jo and I met. We were at a girls' night.
Yep.
We'd planned a lovely little social event.
Dressed up.
And all of a sudden, we found ourselves in a situation where Jo was choking me out of a sweater. We got on, obviously, like a house on fire. But there was this amazing technique. You were literally like, you know, using what you already have, somebody's t-shirt or somebody's hoodie, to choke somebody out in a really kind of, you know, intentional way.
Yes.
Should we try that?
Yes, let's do that one.
Fab. Thank you, producer Sam. Let's do it.
So in any situation, like if you were aggressor, you probably wouldn't. So you'd again be over me, like it'd be here.
Yeah.
So it's taking the slack out of the hoodie. So we want to make sure that if we just pull on it, there's all this gap. So we want to make sure that we're taking the slack out. We're using that because all we want to do, same with we did with the triangle choke with our legs, is cut off here. So we're going to take the slack out. I'm going to reach behind one side. Ooh. Reach behind, get them knuckles in, and then choke that.
Wow. So it's almost like here and here, and then press, right? Yep. Do you mind if I try it on you?
And the other thing is, even if you can't get, it's not, the grips can be different. You can go here, and then you've got all the bones here, here, and then even here. Oh. So it's not has to be perfect position. People can choke anyway. You're just wanting that nice squeeze. And remember, we don't want to go and let go. We want that slow, steady anaconda kind of wrapping round. So we're doing slow. We don't want to burn ourselves out, like we mentioned, keeping calm. So that's slow and steady until they go to sleep.
You know, the thing that's so crazy about that is it requires so little kind of like effort. So the interesting thing about that grip is you're actually pushing back into the throat.
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly have a little try on you, shall I? Oh my, how the tables have turned. So let's say I pull the slack out there. I'm trying not to get your lovely hair, darling. I'm sorry. I might attack you, I might not, might just.
And even if you can only get hold of the slack, you hold that bit to bring it across.
Got you. And then where does this hand go?
So you're going cross. You're always going cross, So and then that one goes over you.
Like that?
Yeah. So you're already putting.
Feel right.
And
I
then
feel like I should be here, no?
further back though.
So actually that
Yeah.
one goes and pulls the slack
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And then that one comes this side. Is that
Yep,
right?
yep, yep.
And then I did it!
That was good.
I choked out Jo!
Yes!
Wow.
Yeah, so, and even if
Did you
you...
really feel that always playing?
Yeah, no, I've got a
you
little
did?
frog
Sorry.
now.
Someone get an ambulance, I'm sorry. It's just dusty in here.
So yeah, if anything, it's not something that's so thick that won't rip. Gathering it up the back, so pulling like if it was a t-shirt, gathering it up so that the material's nice and strong together, and then using that.
Got you.
So if they were on top of you, that motion, they wouldn't probably think anything of it. Yeah, bring it and then.
And so basically what you're doing effectively is like creating this like V across.
Yep.
You're looking for that crossover, and then you're pushing those wrists in nice and strong.
Yeah,
You mentioned, you know, really like fisting up.
Yeah,
right?
using everything. We've got like bones in our hands, knuckles, driving them in. Like even this is not comfortable.
Yeah.
So using that at the same time to kind of really run.
And so what we're looking at really when we're looking, you know, at those chokes are those exposed like fleshy parts of the neck,
Yeah,
right?
and it's
So
the blood.
either-
Yeah, the two main blood
Arteries,
vessels.
okay,
Yeah,
got you.
and arteries. Yeah, to cut off any blood flow.
Got you. And that happens so quickly. I'm so excited. Jo,
I mean, you're gonna have to remove all hoodies from your house now.
I know. You wait till I get home. In fact, Sam, ring the ambulance now. Call it for Eric. He might not survive.
Yes.
Wicked. Jo, let us know, whereabouts can we find you? Where are you coaching from?
So I'm coaching at a gym in Santa Monica called Box and Burn, where I do a majority of my striking privates there, and I also do some of the group classes. I teach a women's only jiu-jitsu class every single Saturday at 1 p.m. at Uprise MMA, and then I'm hoping to be setting up another one on a Thursday evening at Dynamics MMA. So I'm starting to get into lots of gyms, and it's going to be women's only. It's going to be purely jiu-jitsu, so looking at all the sort of ground stuff, and yes, beginners welcome, experience welcome, and they'll get a great workout and learn something new.
I love it. Jo, thank you so much.
Thank you for
choking us
having
out
me.
today.
Thank you for having me.
Wicked.
Amazing.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Good job. That concludes today's episode of Slay. Remember to stay alert out here in these streets, stay calm, and always fight back. Stay tuned for more empowering discussions on health and fitness. You can follow me at Louise Hazel on social media, and you can follow Jo at Jo Doyle _MMA, and check out the Slay brand at Slay Athletic. And don't forget to subscribe to the Slay podcast if you haven't done so already on Spotify. You can also get the tools and resources from today's episode on the Slay app. Download it now for free from the App Store and join our online Slay community.